Blood of YARUMAYA, Chapter 1, Amazon Delivery, July 28th, 2026. The doctor was missing. The radio was dead. The Amazon seized her like a rabbit in a snare. Isabella Bryn Delgado chose the wrong assignment, one she thought would bolster her master's degree in botany from Stanford University, boost a sagging GPA, and salvage her gymnastics scholarship. She didn't want to write her thesis from the hushed aisles of a library or her cramped apartment in the city. She wanted to experience it, live it to the fullest, conduct research in the field away from campus life in bustling Palo Alto, away from the pressures of the balance beam, the nagging injury to her right knee, and away from Teddy, her soon-to-be ex-boyfriend. In scouring a short list of internships, one stood out from the list of lackluster locations. Dr. Dominic J. Quinn, a renowned and mysterious scholar with a Ph.D. in microbiology from Ohio State University. A lone wolf begging for a botanist lab tech to assist him in the Amazon rainforest, where he has spent the last decade studying the unusually long lifespan of an isolated indigenous tribe nobody knew existed. Dr. Quinn's photo looked harmless enough. Graying beard, mid-40s, round glasses, green eyes, handsome, like so many soccer dads she crushed on growing up. Insufferable mosquitoes, suffocating humidity, and the savage downpours were a daily routine in the rainforest. Conditions she thought she understood and blindly accepted before signing up. When people say they could kick themselves, she laughs at how dumb that sounds, but if she could kick herself right now, she'd leave a heavy boot mark in the center of her own khaki shorts. Isabella pulled her raincoat snug around her shoulders under the heavy tarp of the field lab as a brooding thunderstorm battered the canvas. The entire tent might literally wash away, she thought. At least the mosquitoes weren't biting, for now. A musty scent of decaying vegetation filled the damp, warm air. She gazed into the majestic forest toward the river. The stormy scene blurred like snow on a television without an antenna. The boatman dropped her off 6 days ago, along with her backpack and a limited supply of food and water. She was 2 weeks late reporting, and Dr. Quinn was missing. He did, however, leave a soggy note stuck inside a weathered plastic envelope, nailed to a wooden post inside the tent. Dear Assistant, make yourself at home. You'll find an extra cot towards the rear of the tent. There's a limited amount of food in the chest labeled perishables. I'll be gone for a few days conducting research among the Kari Ren tribe. Please remain inside the field lab for your safety. The Amazon can be treacherous. Field radio's down. I'll fix it upon my return. Open the collection barrel when it rains and secure the lid when it stops. Also, keep the food chest closed. P.S. If you're bored, connect the DVD player to the solar power generator. There's a small collection of DVDs inside the box under the bed. Welcome to the Amazon. Cheers, DQ. Isabella popped into a webbed lawn chair, massaged her knee, and sighed. The humidity seemed to aggravate the joint, and the boredom she thought she'd escape settled like an uninvited guest. She sang to entertain herself. Songs from the plays she and Teddy attended. Cats, Chicago, Phantom of the Opera. The sting from their last conversation lingered as a dull ache, replaying over and over inside her head like a bad 80s song. We need to take a little break, Izzy Pop. Maybe see other people for a while. And hey, time away might be good for us. You're my BFF, you know that, right? That last part cut like a rusted bottle cap on a pristine beach. For the past 2 years, she believed she'd found her person, the one guy who could convince her to take a chance and marry him, after college anyway. It hurt, like being kicked in the stomach. Maybe she didn't fit the mold of his elite circle, didn't deserve to find love so easily or so quickly. Palo Alto seemed distant now, cut off. Maybe leaving her comfortable life wasn't the best idea. Did her emotions cloud her hasty decision? Probably. To hell with Teddy, she whispered. slipping her promise ring off and tossing it into her backpack as several tears dribbled from her cheeks. Palo Alto represented freedom and independence from her parents' mansion in Malibu. She knew they loved her, but they were always gone, even when she was young. Growing up as an only child was lonely in that enormous house. She swore she'd have a big family someday to fill the gaps, but not until the timing was right and the person was genuine. Gymnastics was her only escape, but even the gym had become a tired chore of late. The rainforest dripped in the aftermath of a heavy deluge. Out of curiosity, Izzy shuffled through Dr. Quinn's small collection of DVDs, half of which were documentaries on the Amazon rainforest, genetics, and microbiology. Boring, she thought. Indiana Jones. I've had enough of the rainforest for 1 week. Braveheart? Nah, too bloody. Titanic? Wow, dude, really? Looks like he's watched this one a few times. A smoking pipe made of hard, rich golden wood etched with dark amber veins lay at the bottom of the DVD box. She lifted and examined it. The scent of ash and citrus filled her nostrils, the wood hard and smooth. This is gorge. Wow. Craftsmanship is amazing. She wove her long, thick chestnut curls into a French braid and closed her eyes as she leaned her head back and stretched her sturdy thighs. Steady trickles plopping into muddy pools, the chirps of insects, the shrills of monkeys, and the whistles of exotic birds were the only sounds keeping her mind stimulated. She couldn't fight it. She missed Teddy, missed Palo Alto, missed her parents, and after nearly a week alone, trapped in the rainforest, all she wanted to do was go home. A deep, guttural growl shot a surge of adrenaline through her veins. Her heart pounded as she sipped quick breaths. Something was outside the tent, and it wasn't human. She held her breath as she tiptoed toward the wooden dresser. Tugging on each drawer, she slid them open one by one, shuffling through their contents. A pair of round spectacles, random notes, pencils, vials, liquid beakers, petri dishes, rubber tubes, microscopic slides, a butane lighter, and a pistol next to a box of .38 caliber bullets. Great, she muttered with a quivering voice. Thanks for never taking me shooting like you promised, Teddy. The pistol was loaded. She used the tip of the barrel to lift the flap and peeked outside. A thick, spotted tail brushed against the canvas wall. She jerked and pulled the trigger, but the trigger jammed. The tawny, speckled face of an enormous cat glared at her through the opening, with unblinking, golden eyes that fixed on her like its next meal. Isabella froze. A sickening sensation tightened her throat and churned inside her stomach. She shrieked and stepped back, fiddling with the pistol. The cat roared like the pull of a chainsaw, sending a charge of adrenaline and primeval terror coursing through her veins. Isabella unlocked the safety button, stumbled backward, closed her eyes, and fired. The bullet hit the radio, ricocheted, and punched a hole in the tent. Enormous paws were sent splashing in the mud, scampering away and crashing into the trees before fading. She braced her hands on her knees and sucked a deep breath and whimpered, "Oh my God, what the hell was that? Why am I even here?" She planted herself on the edge of her cot and stared out the front entrance. The pistol trembled in her hand, so she set it on the ground and buried her face in her palms. "Where is Dr. Quinn?" she sobbed. Isabella trembled uncontrollably for nearly 20 minutes before a deep breath finally settled her nerves. She slid open the dresser drawer to return the pistol, noticing a brown leather journal at the bottom. She snatched it, flopped onto the webbed lawn chair, and sucked in a quivering yawn. Rifling through the pages, she skimmed Dr. Quinn's various notes and sketches on the Kauri-Ren tribes, diet, rituals, mythology, and everyday life. When she flipped to the last page, his final note caught her eye. July 3rd, 2026, headed to the Kauri-Ren village to observe the ritual of rebirth. I'll be gone for a week. The ritual holds clues to these mysterious people's unusual lifespan and uncanny youthful appearance. My new age should arrive by then, by the time I return, and help me identify the trees and vegetation unique to the region. "A week?" she mumbled. "That was like 3 weeks ago. Jeez, it just want to go home. Izzy tossed the journal onto the dresser and flopped onto the cot, curling into a ball. She zipped the mosquito net, buried her head under a blanket, and screamed.